Hi there folks, back again for another video. This one is just a little bit of an update on my little kit bashing journey for creating the 13th Company Space Wolves. Now you will have seen in the last video I showed off this fellow who was one of my Hounds of Morkai conversions, or kit bashes I guess you'd say, rather than a conversion, which is just an addition of the Wolven kit to the classic Primaris one in order to create some pretty badass looking 13th Company Space Wolves. Well, my actual journey with the Space Wolves was essentially based on some bits that I'd found from Grey Tide Studio, and I have now used these to start working through the combat patrol for the 13th Company that I'm building. Now, obviously these are Primaris Space Marines. They wouldn't necessarily be them if they were 13th Company, but I just like the Primaris look and I think they look pretty badass, so that's what I'm going with. So I've slightly changed things a little bit when it comes to the themes for these. So you'll notice on this fellow that I actually went a little bit more dry brushy with the effect, but I actually think that doing a little bit more of like a overbrush style effect on the armor for the classic Primaris Space Marines actually worked out quite nicely for these. So these are essentially just building the basic Primaris kit that you would get. So it's the legs and the body, and for the case of in the case of the basic intercessors, the backpack as well, and the bolt gun. But then throwing in additional bits and pieces from the Grey Tide range, namely heads and maybe the sort of loincloths that you see underneath there as well. So this was just a head edition, and then there's one of the loincloths under there. You can't really see it very well. And the little grenade pack there from the Primaris upgrade sprue for the Space Wolves. This was similar again, so just did a helmet swap with one of the new helmets. As you can see, I've done the grey on all of these and then the red symbol on the shoulder pad. But there's one of the sort of loincloths, effectively chainmail loincloths there, and something from the Primaris upgrade sprue. But I think this just sort of gives them a nice little touch of something a little bit different, almost a little bit chaotic without going too far, which I think is quite nice. Here's another one with the helmet on, slightly more of a Templar style look, I suppose. This is another one of the miniatures where I've actually gone a little bit further, so I've done all the black on the carapace underneath, as you can see there, and also on the shoulder pads, and then what I'll be doing for the guns. So that's that one done as well. And just the idea is that I'm going to try and do the combat squads effectively. So I'm going to do a little 5-man thing and the character to lead the way, just because I want to try and get stuff done, but I don't want to overload myself effectively. So that's just another one. So with a slightly more ostentatious loincloth, as you can see, but looking pretty good, I think you'll agree. So I did the back there. So I just need to go through and do all the black armor on these. And here is the Intercessor Sergeant. So went a little bit more overboard with the design for this one. So slightly more over the top loincloth. Went for the shouting head. Gave him that kind of classic old school studded arm pad, which kind of works quite nicely with the idea of it being stolen off someone from the Chaos Space Marines when they were in the warp. There's the axe option I've gone for, and obviously the one in the combat patrol just comes with a chainsword, but I'm just going to fluff that as a chainsword effectively, but it's a power axe. And then he's also got his slightly more chaotic looking backpack, which mirrors some of the older designs for the Chaos Space Marines and Space Marines there as well. He's still looking at a little data pad, of course, but then I've got there's his bolt pistol attached to his back. Could also be a plasma pistol, I suppose, as well. And he's got the wolf pelt there on the shoulder pad. So I won't necessarily do too much with the shoulder pad there to make it look 13th Company, because there's no space for any red or anything like that, but it'll be a fun little miniature to put together and build. So yeah, there's the Sergeant. And then here's the, I think in the larger game, it's called a Space Wolf Pack Leader. But here, obviously, he's playing the role of Haldor Icepelt, who is more in line with like a Primaris lieutenant, really, I suppose, in the game. And that's what I'll kind of use him as a captain, basically, when I start playing the game properly. beyond the Combat Patrol. But so yeah, he comes with the pelt on the back there, which is part of the normal Space Wolf sprue, and the front there as well. That gun is still original. The only things that were added to this miniature were the power weapon, which I've done, as you can see there, which is one of the new power weapons from the Grey Tide stuff. So I'll do that as a frost weapon. Then the head is different as well. Going to paint him up with long flowing blonde hair, kind of match the sort of Russ look and feel to him. And then obviously the backpack there is from the 3D printing kit as well. So that's just where I am at the moment with these, just showing off some of the work that I've done in terms of conversions and kit bashing and all that kind of stuff. It's not anything massive, but I think it's enough to try and really kind of sell the look that I'm going for at the moment. And yeah, so I'll come back when I've done a little bit more painting on these and update you with more videos as we go through. So that's my thing so far. As I say, I decided to try and do them in sort of a combat squad and a leader character, so I don't overwhelm myself. I think when it comes to the Reavers, I'm going to do something similar to what I've done for the Hands of Morkai, as you can see there. So give them the Wolven Claw hands, but keep the rest of them very separate in look from what I've done with those, pardon me, just to make it feel a little bit different. But yeah, really enjoyed working with the bits. They go together really nicely with the kits. Something that's really nice about these kind of loincloths is that they sort of plug onto the belt buckle that you get at the front of the Primaris Space Marines. So they fit really nicely either on top of it or underneath it and just slide over the legs. So it's a really good sort of addition to the kit to make it usable. I'm really in love with the Sergeant as well. I think he looks awesome, and I can't wait to get a little bit more painting on this. So these were undercoated black and then sort of overbrushed, dry brushed with a Militarum grey, whatever it's called, Ministorum grey, and then a little tiny bit of a dry brush with Rakarth just to hit some of the edges here and there, just to give a little bit more definition when things like washes go down on top of these later on. But yeah, I think they're coming together really nicely, and once I've done my cowboys over there, they just need to be finished up a little bit. I'll be getting on to painting these, I think, and then I have some shipped in the background as well, but they are for a future video. So yeah, working away on Space Wolves, trying to get them looking nice, and I will be back in a future video to talk a little bit more about how things are going with the Space Wolves there. But yeah, shouldn't be too long until they are ready to hit the tabletop. Bye.